Welcome back to a second episode of Armchair Banter SEC Hoops Edition. We're your hosts, Hayden McDaniel, Tristan Parker, and boy, do we have a good one for you today because first day of SEC play did not disappoint. There were some surprises, some solid wins, some embarrassing losses, I should say. We made some good predictions, bad predictions. We're not perfect, but we're having fun with it. And I did learn one thing. I will never have confidence in the Georgia Bulldogs again. I was trying to show some love to my fiance, my lovely fiance, my future wife, Georgia alum. But no, 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 no. The Bulldogs disappointed. It was horrible. And buddy, I learned a hard lesson.
Yeah, man, it was a wild weekend. Saw some teams that surprised us, man. Um, it was quite interesting. Mississippi State, we knew they'd be good, but
Man,
man, they beat the living piss out of South Carolina Saturday afternoon. And
Jesse, welcome in.
Jesse, what's up, buddy? Um, and they look like a team that maybe can hang around in the SEC this year. I mean, it's week one of conference play, game one. There's still so much basketball left to play, but we also saw some teams that were struggling to that maybe have not quite found their identity yet. One example, I know you were high on them. The Texas Longhorns.
Man, oh my gosh.
That was
Embarrassing.
that was rough on Saturday. I mean, I know
Rough.
that they went into College Station, and you can never you can never tell what's going to happen in College
No,
Station.
no.
But I mean, I expected more out of him. I expected more out of your boy Trey Johnson, and
God, I did. He went so cold, man.
he
Cold.
he played he played like a freshman. And it just at this point right now, Texas just doesn't have their identity yet. And if they want to make the tournament, I mean, it's the SEC, baby. You got to find that identity pretty soon.
Yep. Amen. You know, we got the pleasure to watch all 16 teams in action this past Saturday, and it did not disappoint. Like I said, let's break it down. We had an absolute monster matchup to start the day, a banger of a game, top 10 matchup. Number 6 Florida Gators tipped off their conference play against the number 10 Kentucky Wildcats in a must-see battle. Wildcats did come out on top. I apologize, 106-100. What you think, man?
You know, Kentucky obviously impressive as always. They looked good. Home crowd behind them, a lot of energy, a lot of hype. But you know, even in the loss, Florida, man, I mean, they still look good,
You look
and
great.
they went into a very tough environment and dropped 100 on the Kentucky Wildcats. They showed that they were not afraid to play with the big boys, and I think they answered a lot of questions even in the loss. And I mean, now you're really gonna find out what kind of team they are because they're turning around tomorrow night and playing, or tomorrow night or Wednesday, and playing Tennessee at home. That's going to be another big matchup. So back-to-back big matchups to start. And if you can if they can beat Tennessee at home and go 1-1 in that little stretch there, you can't ask for much better than that. Obviously 2-0, but I mean that's hard to do in the SEC. But Florida, man, they looked really good. They played about as well as I expected them to play. And
Absolutely. Walter Clayton,
yeah,
career high tie, 33.
absolutely. And but at the end of the day, you're playing in Lexington. It's a tough place to play. Kentucky's a top 10 team, and it's an early game. You and I talked a lot about early games yesterday off the air, and the difference in prep and stuff. And we'll get into that probably when we talk about another game.
Oh, yeah, we will.
But
Buddy, will we ever? Man, I'm so ready to fire this man up. You guys have no idea what is coming. Let me tell you. Oh, man. Oh, man.
But it's like we said, game day, especially an 11 a.m. game, man. There's just no telling all the prep that goes into that early of a basketball game. You would probably know playing in college,
Break
but
it up. Yeah. Early
it,
wake ups.
it's tough. It's not easy, but they rose to the challenge. Still scored 100 points. I don't care if you win or lose. Dropping 100 on the road in the SEC is not easy to do. But Florida was able to do it, and I think they're going to win a lot of basketball games that they probably shouldn't win this year. They'll probably pull off a lot of upsets to be able to sneak their way. I mean, they're going to be in the tournament regardless. They played like a tournament team, but to get a higher seed in the tournament.
Let's give some praise here to Mark Pope though. 3
Absolutely.
top 10 wins this year already.
Mm-hmm.
He's got them boys balled in, man. He's
Yeah.
going to have, I think, a successful career in Kentucky.
And I think we're starting to see that the John Calipari departure to Arkansas is going to benefit both teams.
Absolutely.
I think John Calipari needed to move on. He realized it was time to move on, and Kentucky needed somebody else in the locker room because what was happening in the last few years just wasn't working like it used to. But now Kentucky basketball's right back on the map.
Absolutely. The next game that we had, I went into this game with some blind confidence. Georgia opened that conference schedule with they had a total whooping home, man. The Rebels, they came in looking to make a statement in the conference, and I think it's safe to say after a solid 63-51 win, they made that statement. They had a two-headed monster in Jamin Brakefield and Matthew Murrow dropping 15 piece between the both of them. While the Bulldogs, they win a freezing cold, 2 for 18 from the three-point line? It looked like a midday pickup game at the YMCA out there for the Bulldogs. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, man. Not a good day for Georgia.
No.
They answered a lot of questions that I had about them. And I mean they answered them by not answering them, if that makes sense. I had a lot of questions about their non-conference schedule. They didn't have a lot of challenging games, and then they go right in the conference play and play a pretty good Ole Miss team. I'll say this, a much improved Ole Miss team.
Absolutely.
Than in the past in basketball. And I mean, credit to Chris
Beard.
Beard.
24th right now.
Yeah, they're a top 25. They went and played a top 25 opponent, and they lost by 12. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. The schedule's only going to get more intense for them as well.
I got pity for them.
They have Kentucky at home, I think, tomorrow. Tomorrow
night.
It'll
be a cold day in Athens.
Yeah, and then they play Oklahoma this weekend. But which we'll get into Oklahoma too in a little bit.
I know. Can't wait to talk about that one.
But the schedule's only going to get tougher. Georgia it's hard to say a game is a must win when you're opening up in conference play, but I think if there ever was a must win for a team, I think Georgia had to win that game on Saturday. I mean, there's still time, still a long way to go, still a lot of season left, but they dug themselves a hole that they didn't need to dig on Saturday afternoon in Oxford.
Absolutely. They needed to make a little bit of a statement for themselves. People had questions about them. They have a good recruiting class, solid players, solid freshmen, but man, they dropped an egg on that one for me. Now, the next game I want to talk about. Boy, oh boy.
We've been foreshadowing this.
Rocky Top, buddy. Tennessee whooped the dog piss out of Coach Cal and the Razorbacks. They fried up some bacon, if you will, that game. It was absolutely embarrassing. Coach Cal got on the stand and embarrassed himself after the game, too. Embarrassed himself and the team. Not only did you get blown out by 24 points, Coach Cal, but you got on the stand and started preaching about how you couldn't sleep because you let your team skip shoot around. You've let your players be late to meetings, to preps, to breakfasts, to all this stuff that matters on game day. This is your time to prep for the team. And you're basically sending a message by skipping out on your shoot around, which you have to schedule with the opposing team's coach. That way you have the gym guaranteed. You gave them motivation by telling them you're not worried about them and skipping a shoot around. What the hell were you thinking? You got whooped, son. And, buddy, I hope you learned your lesson to never skip a shoot around again because that was the most embarrassing performance of your career, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Very, very weird. I mean, you and I both came on here and we picked Tennessee to win. Tennessee, in my opinion, is one of the best teams in the country right now. But
only undefeated team in Division I right now.
Yeah, only undefeated team in Division I. But I don't know, man. And I picked your brain about this a lot, and if you want to share some of your insight on this, like you shared with me yesterday, please go right ahead. But I had so many questions about that because it's a 1 p.m. tip off. Like, okay, I get it. It's earlier than you're probably going to play during the week and weekends because most games are scheduled by like
2 p.m.
in the back half. You just happen to draw the early game that or on Saturday, and you just I don't know from someone who's seen it on someone who's seen it from afar. I didn't play college sports. It would almost seem like though shoot around is routine. Like if you're skipping shoot around, you're showing up to the game out of routine already. Like you didn't get your warm up shots in. You're going in cold, and I don't know if from a
it's not even from. I guarantee you, them boys were confident they didn't need the shoot around. It's not even. It's less for the player. It's more for the coaches on the bench. It's more for you as a head coach. It's more for your assistants to scout, show what you've been scouting. Go over your game plans. How are you going to guard certain looks? What are you going to do when they throw certain looks at you on defense? What are you going to do? And they skipped that prep. They skipped the most important part of the game.
You're playing the number one team in the country. Why would you do that?
And think about it. They just played Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and they're playing again tomorrow. That's a 1, 2, 3, a 2-day turnaround. You have to use your shoot around time to prep for the teams because you're going to get new looks from those teams, new plays, new sets that you haven't seen all year now that conference plays opened up and you got tougher opponents playing. Coaches are going to have to show you more. You need that valuable time to prep the team. And by not doing that and basically telling all of Tennessee, because the coaches went in the locker room and told the boys, hey, they said they're good. They're not even worried about us. Come on, man. Tote that 24-point ass whooping back home.
Yeah,
your bacon got fried, son.
That was a much deserved whooping they got, and I don't know. It was just very undisciplined, terrible coaching, and
embarrassing for Coach Cal. That's not when you think Coach Cal. That's not what you think.
Yeah, and
I don't think that.
I mean, he's got a pretty good track record. He's got championships. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. But man,
absolutely,
to start that way at a new school, a school that's kind of looking for new energy, looking for a positive turnaround.
Yep.
That's
looking for somebody to fill in big shoes with Eric Musselman.
Yeah. When he left for USC, I mean, you went and replaced him with a really good coach, and
he did.
This guy did not do his homework, basically.
Exactly. Before we move on, Chaz Lanier led the way, 29 points, carrying the Vols to that ass whooping, 14-0, undefeated, only undefeated team in Division I, and I believe that they're going to continue to be a hot team, and they'll be straight. They'll be straight moving forward.
Oh yeah, Tennessee's going to be very good. Tennessee. All right, and I think Arkansas will be fine.
Not if Coach Cal don't get it together, but he got to swallow his pride. He has to swallow the pride, man. He has to swallow the I'm Coach Cal thing.
Yeah, it was just a very abysmal day on Saturday.
Horrible
for everybody.
Horrible. Speaking of whoopings, up next, South Carolina, Mississippi State that day. Buddy, is Mississippi State that good or is South Carolina that bad? That's my take. A 35-point whooping, son. You got bent over the knee and smacked.
I was going to leave with that question. I don't know. Right now, I hope South Carolina's that bad because we got to go play in Columbia on Wednesday night. But maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. Time will tell. But you would think that
embarrassing.
Yeah, that was not a good performance, especially after South Carolina a few weeks ago beat a ranked Clemson. Yep. So now it's like, and then you go and start open SEC play, and literally had a can of whoop ass open over your head.
Over their head. Speaking of Mississippi State, Jesse, you're saying Mississippi State's that good. They're a sneaky SEC team. for both of you guys that are paying attention right now, Josh Hubbard led the way, 21 points. He's a star for the Bulldogs. Will he be able to sustain that and keep that going though through conference play?
That's a question that's yet to be answered, and we talked about it a lot on Friday. Just because you finish 6th, 7th in the SEC doesn't mean you're a mediocre team. That's just
true.
That's how stat the SEC is.
It is.
So, what defines sneaky good at this point? And this isn't to downplay Jesse's answer. I just want to know what defines sneaky good in the SEC. Is it going 10-6 and being a top 6 seed? I mean, I would take that. I would absolutely take that going into the tournament, and I think Mississippi State is capable of that. Or are we talking they're a top 3 seed in the tournament and could be a contender in the SEC tournament? What defines sneaky good? But again, it's the SEC. The conference is loaded.
Yep.
Anything can happen.
12-6 would be solid though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Would be solid.
Absolutely.
Would be solid. But again, 35 points, bad. And, the Bulldogs had 4 players in double digits. So, they could be really that good. They could be a great team, vibing with each other, doing their thing. Jesse thinks they're going to make a tournament because the SEC tourney run they're going to make. So, he thinks they're going to set themselves up by making a splash in the SEC tournament. I can see it happening.
We'll get into bracketology in a few weeks, Jesse.
We will.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I might even try to sit down and figure out a 68 team tournament. I might literally try to figure it all out. Call me Joe Lenardi or whatever his name is.
All right. Next up, we had the battle of the Tigers, the dilapidated Tigers and the roaring Tigers.
Not much to say about it.
No, I think it went exactly as everybody thought it was going to go. Auburn won in the jungle. No one's surprised. My SEC player of the year, of course, Janai Broome, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks. And, man, he just keeps lighting the world of college hoops on fire, man. He is carrying the load for Auburn. I think he'll continue to carry the load for Auburn against the Texas Longhorns tomorrow. And, it does not pain me to say this, but I wouldn't have mind seeing him in crimson and white. But you know how it goes. People in hell want ice water, and they don't get that either.
Nope. They do not. Yeah, Auburn looked good, about as I expected. That was a game that not surprised at the outcome. Missouri got a long way.
The dilapidated Tigers.
Yep, they got a long way to go.
Next, we had Vandy on the list against the Bayou Bengals. Now, Vandy. Great team win against the Bayou Bengals. Vandy had 5 players in double digits. And dare we say the Commodores as a team, they're a team to watch under Mark Byington. Sorry. Got a complicated name there. Does he have what it takes to lead this team in his first year against the SEC, or are the Tigers just suffering right now, man?
That's a really good question. I really thought maybe we disrespected Vandy, but then I went back and watched a little bit of that game. LSU doesn't look like they have it together.
They're just not that good, are they?
They don't look that good. Maybe Vandy's a little bit better than we gave him credit for, but I mean, when you put a team at the bottom, it's hard to be worse than we expected. But again, it's the SEC, absolutely. So even the last seed in the SEC is probably going to be one of the first 4 teams out in March. But I have my questions about LSU on Friday. Mm-hmm. I said ever since Will Wade's left, that program's kind of screwed themselves over. And
downhill.
It showed. They just don't look like a competent program right now.
No, they don't. And that was the only game not featuring a top 25 matchup in the SEC.
Yeah.
And it showed, let me tell you.
Absolutely. It showed. It was not a fun game to watch.
Now, Vandy did play great defense down the stretch, taking out some of the key players for LSU. Great observation, Jesse, that you are right about that. But again, both not great teams. Will Vandy make a splash in the SEC? Possibly, first-year coach.
That defense could win a few games for him.
They could. Now, I can't decide. Should we talk about our team next, or should we leave them for last? Because I know our man Jesse is in
Still licking
Oklahoma,
his wounds. Oh, he
still
got
licking the
me as
wounds.
soon as the game was over.
LSU fan. So you know what? I think we'll move past that game for a second. Go talk about Texas A&M, and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So disappointed in Texas, disappointed in Trey Johnson. Boy, 11 points on like terrible, abysmal numbers, man. Abysmal. Uh, Texas A&M handed it to him by 20.
He played like a freshman.
He did. He played like a freshman. He did. But the Aggies, they rode the hot hand of Zurich Phelps. He dropped 18, and he led the Aggies that way.
A&M looks good.
A&M does look good, man.
Looks really good, and they caught a team in Texas sleeping without an identity.
A little in-state reaction there.
I mentioned that earlier. Texas not really finding their identity, and you're in the SEC. You've got to have you've had 13 games, 13 non-conference games to find your identity and to figure out who you are. That's why teams like Alabama schedule these Illinois, Creighton, North Carolinas, Oregon,
prepare
you name it. They schedule these tournament and potential teams, and I looked at
sharpens iron, man. If you want to get better, you got to play the best.
Yeah, you got to play the best teams right away in non-conference play, and I mean that's kind of what you have coming right there. That you go into A&M, who's a good team, and you figure out real quick, okay, we are not as good as we thought we were. It's like I said the other day. A lot of these teams think they're good right now because of their record, and they're in for a harsh reality. Yeah. Texas might be one of those teams.
It does build confidence when you play JV teams, but it also shows that you play JV teams when you start the big.
Yeah. And it's only again like Georgia. It's only going to get harder. They got to play Auburn tomorrow night, and I don't care if it's at home.
No. Georgia's got Kentucky. Wildcats. Not the
Do what?
Georgia's got the Wildcats tomorrow.
No, I'm talking about Texas. Texas has Auburn tomorrow.
They do, and it's going to be a long night for them.
That's a 30-point dub for Auburn.
That's what my prediction is right there.
We'll get into it in a minute, but it's not looking good for Texas.
Man.
But A&M?
Yeah, A&M's looking good. They got some
experience. They're a top 4 team in the SEC.
They are. They got some experience, man. I think they'll make a deep run. I think that they're going to be the team to watch in the SEC tournament.
They're the super dog.
They will be.
Or under the radar team.
Absolutely. Now, let's spare no feelings here. Them boys in crimson. You know how it goes. Link. They let the naysayers know. They stomped them Sooners 107-79. They just bullied them boys around all night long. It was embarrassing, but you know what? Send them packing back to Norman and enjoy yourselves. There's a couple takeaways from this game, right? Mark Sears clips 1,500. Got 1,500 career points to his name. He dropped 22. LeBaron felt he's got a complicated name too. LeBaron Philon added 16, and Grant Nelson had 12 and 11. And there was more contributors to the game, but that just shows the depth of Alabama and just what we are capable of, because that was so embarrassing for Oklahoma. Y'all were undefeated. Y'all got to tote that back. I'm so proud of Alabama for being the team that gives y'all that L and makes y'all tote that back. And, Nate Oates, he's going to keep it rolling. That man's going to keep it rolling. He runs the most player-friendly system in the world. He understands his team, and he sets them up for success every single game. And you know what? Just like you said earlier, he scheduled those hard games in the beginning of the year to test his team and to show them what they are capable of. And they're finna roll through the SEC. They're finna to roll.
I hope you're right. I was very, very, very happy on Saturday to see how well we played. Like you said, Mark Sears went off. And you called that. Props to you for calling that on Friday night.
He's great player.
You just have that feeling when somebody's going to go off.
You do.
You could see it from the start of the game.
Yep.
His from when he nailed his first three, you're like, all right, yep, he's gonna have his day.
Tough
And
guard being a lefty too, man. It's hard to guard them lefties.
oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, Oklahoma's perimeter defense has been pretty good so far this season. And I was a little bit nervous about that going in, and they played well to start the game,
They
but
did.
once I don't know if they wore down. I don't know if Alabama just figured it out and just took what the defense gave them.
Alabama couldn't miss if they wanted to.
Yeah, they were on fire from the start Saturday, and you just hope they keep it up. You just hope they keep it up.
Them boys in crimson gonna keep it rolling, man. You know, we got a good look at all these teams. First game of the conference. You know, for everybody. And we got a couple more games tomorrow on Wednesday to follow up. You know, we got a better look at them. We got a better idea of how they're going to play in the conference. So let's look at some predictions for tomorrow. First with Tennessee and Florida. And you know, Florida's a great team, but Rocky Top is rolling right now, and Rocky Top's going to keep on partying, and they're going to hand it to Florida, remain undefeated. I think they're going to come out of there 12-point win.
You know, I've got Tennessee winning the SEC.
Yeah.
But
you think it's going to be an upset?
You also have Florida at home coming off of a frustrating loss on Saturday, where, again, they played well. I think the Gators get it done tomorrow night in Gainesville. I think they'll pull it off against the number one team in the country. And it's like I said, man, it's going to be one of those years where everybody somehow finds a way to beat everybody at some point. I don't think there's going to be an undefeated team in the SEC. I don't think you're going to run through conference play with less than 2 losses. I think this is one of Tennessee's losses in Gainesville. I'm going with the Gators.
That's bold. You know what? I am willing to put a wager on that. I've got lunch on Wednesday for that game. I got Tennessee. You got Florida. Can't wait to sing. And I'm going to blast old Rocky Top at the top of the speakers as I roll in that day. Now, predicting this game's not even worth time, but we're going to do it anyway. You got Georgia and Kentucky. Kentucky's finna 30-piece Georgia. I'm sorry, but Georgia's finna have a cold day in Athens, because it's going to be a long night for them Bulldogs.
Identity's a big thing going into conference play. I keep mentioning the word identity. Kentucky has their identity. Georgia does not. Give me the team with their identity any day of the week. Kentucky big.
I by at least 30. I'm sorry, but by at least 30 for me. Kentucky's finna dog walk the puppies tomorrow. Auburn, Texas. Them Tigers finna eat some steaks tomorrow night, boy. It's going to be ugly. I got Tigers by 25. I don't care. You heard it here first. Janai Broom, he's going to feast. Can't nobody on Texas guard him. Can't nobody in college hoops really guard him at all. But Trey Johnson, bad game. He's going to have another bad one. I can feel a little cold streak coming on for him. Just by watching him play. And, you know, it's 25 points for Auburn. 25-point win for me, personally. And I hate to say that, but they're just so dominant.
It's going to be a long few days in Austin.
Yeah.
Auburn's about to roll in on tomorrow night and beat the brakes off of Texas. And then I think it's Thursday night in Dallas. Ohio State's about to drop 45 on Texas's defense. Ohio's, and I'll post a video on the Facebook page with my playoff predictions later, probably tomorrow or Wednesday. But that's a preview. That's my spoiler. It's gonna be a long week in Austin, and it's gonna start tomorrow night. And it's just going to continue. Look, I don't like Auburn or Ohio State, but facts are facts.
Facts are facts right now. And you know what? Tigers going to pounce early on Longhorns and just drag them down, drag them out the whole game. They had no answers for the Auburn Tigers from anybody right now, really. And I think it's going to show tomorrow night. Now, you got Mississippi State versus Vandy. I got Mississippi State rolling in there, winning by 12. Yep.
It's
My cowbell.
I'm ringing an invincible cowbell.
Yep. I agree with you because, Bulldogs, they're rolling. They look good. They're going to remain strong. Vandy doesn't have their identity. They're still trying to figure themselves out. But, yeah, man, I got that cowbell with you right there, buddy.
Invisible cowbell.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And then to end the night, we have what I would like to call the senior special. It's the Battle of the Tigers. It's going to be putting people to sleep. You got the Bayou Bengals versus the Mizzou Tigers. It's like choosing the Walmart brand Frosted Flakes versus the Kroger brand Frosted Flakes. They both suck compared to the Frosted Flakes, aka the Auburn Tigers. But Vandy's win streak coming to an end, I do believe. LSU walks away with this one. But like I said, it's going to be a boring game, in my opinion. Both bad teams. And it's just the off-brand Tony the Tiger battle there.
This is the game. It's a 9:00 game, right?
Yeah.
This is the game you watch
Sleeper.
when you're trying to wind down and get in
Absolutely.
bed and
Yep.
try to go to sleep for the next day.
Yep.
LSU's going to win this one, I think, but it's not a game I'm going to spend a lot of my mental resources watching.
No, I'm not.
Do we want to do Wednesday's games real quick?
You want to go ahead and predict Wednesday? We can. Let's pull up what we got on the SEC slate for Wednesday real quick. On Wednesday, we got Alabama, South Carolina starting it out at 7 p.m. and what I think Alabama is going to continue to roll, buddy. Alabama going to Columbia for this one. And it's going to be a long season in Columbia. They're not a basketball school. They weren't a football school until Beamer came along and made them a little relevant again as Spurrier. And good for them for that, but you got a long time before you reach the world of hoops because that Clemson win was false hope. Fool's gold is what that was. You came away with the win feeling good about yourself, and then you got your ass whooped the next day. Alabama by 40.
It'll be good to watch our old boy Nick Pringle play on Wednesday night. Maybe Nate Oates will present him his Final Four ring in front of the Columbia crowd.
Probably will.
And let them know that that's probably going to be the only Final Four ring presentation they see for a while.
Absolutely.
Alabama's going to roll in this game. I hope. I have a strong feeling about that.
I do. I think Phylon might go for a 20 ball.
Well, it would be
might
nice.
Go for a 20 ball. Mark
it would be nice
probably
to see.
A guaranteed 20. He's a crafty scorer. Like I said, tough to guard lefties, but I think you can expect 20 out of one of them. I'm not going to say both, so don't hold me responsible for your busted parlay because you're listening to me now.
Is Jesse talking about parlay right now?
I ain't talking about his parlay. I'm saying don't hold me accountable for your busted parlay. One of them will go for 20, and Grant Nelson will definitely have a double-double. I don't know about in the first half, but he will have a double-double without a doubt.
Sure.
Ole Miss, Arkansas. Coach Cal better prepare.
Yep.
He better hope he did that shoot around this time. Ole Miss is going to come in looking to make a statement and continue to put their foot on Coach Cal's throat. And bold predicament here bold statement about Coach Cal in all-out opinion. My personal opinion, and I just want to start with that. I think Coach Cal is tired. I think he's going to retire soon. I don't think that he has the same pool that he had as the I'm guaranteed NBA money or go to the league if you play for me. Because, you got the NIL now. People are making money in college, like crazy, crazy money in college. But I just think Coach Cal doesn't have that pool anymore. I think he can't command his team when it comes to tough. He doesn't build mentally tough teams because he doesn't give them any tough non-conference games to really play. And I think Ole Miss is going to pull this one out and keep it rolling. They'll move on to 13-2 on the season. Coach Cal's going to have a 4-loss season so far. And them Rebs going to rope them up some hogs.
Yeah, very disappointed in Arkansas so far from what I've seen. You were talking about Coach Cal's window kind of closing. I think it's one of those things at Arkansas right now. He's probably got about 3 years. It's kind of his going out party.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a plan for somebody to come in after Coach Cal, what the deal is right now. But anyway, that's besides the point. Right now, Chris Beard is a coach that's on the rise. He's out there with a chip on his shoulder with a point to prove. He, of course, I mentioned the situation in Texas that got him dismissed there.
Yep.
He's looking to get back to that kind of job, and I think this is a good spot for him. He's building a good program at Ole Miss, and I think he continues to build on that on Wednesday night, and I think the Rebels get it done.
I agree. And then you got Texas A&M and Oklahoma to end the night.
Jesse, buddy, listen.
Jesse, bud, I'm sorry.
I got a lot of love and respect for you.
The Aggies on top, though. Aggies on top.
There's no worse team to play after coming off an ass whooping
Yeah.
than the team that is looking to just fly under the radar and make a run in the SEC tournament. A&M wins this one. I think it's closer than it was against Alabama because it's in Norman.
I think it's going to be about 8 point.
But A&M with another big win. Leading up to a big matchup this weekend with them boys in Crimson.
It is going to be a big match.
In College Station.
And I look forward to that. We're going to have to get together at Taco Mac or something and watch that game, have a good time. I think we made some good predictions tonight. We had some good takeaways, good key takeaways from the first game of conference. And I look forward to tuning in for the next 2 days of more conference play before we gather back together and go over that.
Absolutely.
And Jesse, it's always nice to have you in the crowd. It's nice to feel your comments, get your predictions. I agree with some of them. Some of them are crazy, but that's okay. Don't rely on me, your parlay. And I think I'm signing off for the night, guys.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Peace.